Hey guys, how you going? Hey guys, you worried about the effects of 5G radiation? Well, let me introduce you to the affiliate of this video. They're called EMF Harmonized, and they filter out the harmful RF waves that actually damage our DNA. Kids are also more susceptible to the RF waves than adults are, and what they do is EMFs clump together red blood cells and cause lots of problems. This technology prevents that. And as you can see, they have products for your phone, your tablet and your computer, as well as your body. You can actually buy these for your body. So if you'd like to help a fellow truther and help me out as well, please check out the affiliate link down below. They also actually have a video showing you the red blood cells, how they clump together with 5G radiation, and how this technology protects you from that. Okay guys, if you're interested, check out the affiliate link below. Thanks guys. Hey guys, before I start, I would like to thank Danielle. Thank you so much, and thank you to all my PayPals, Patreons, and everybody for just listening and subscribing and liking. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into the Tromp family mystery. Now, I've been looking into this for about 4 days, and a lot of things just don't make sense. First of all, okay, they were a family who had a farm in Victoria, where we can see at the moment things aren't doing too well, or I don't know if they are now, but I'm looking at this thing here. Is this a cell phone tower? Or a Wi-Fi tower or something? What type of tower is? I can't zoom in anymore. I might be able to on another page, but I'm just going to read at the moment what the mainstream media have said about this. Okay, the Tromp family mystery. A family of 5 disappeared on a tech-free road trip only to turn up one by one after a week-long odyssey of more than 1,600 kilometres, 995 miles, which ended with a police investigation and two of them in psychiatric care. This was a missing person mystery that held Australia spellbound. The Tromp family were, by all accounts, a normal, hard-working household. Mark Tromp, 51, and wife Jacoba, 53, had established a successful red currant farm and earth-moving business at their property in Sylvan on the outskirts of the Victorian capital, Melbourne. Okay, but with little warning, on Monday the 29th of August, they and their 3 adult children, Rihanna, 29, Mitchell, 25, and Ella, 22, got into a car and headed north. They didn't just leave their family farm, they had fled. Police later called to the home to investigate, found passports, credit cards and mobile phones had been left behind. This was to be a cash-only, off-the-grid road trip with no way of being followed. It was later revealed Mark and Jacoba had been suffering increasing signs of stress and paranoia. According to media reports, at least one of them had become convinced someone was out to kill them and take their money. The only phone not left behind belonged to Mitchell. He appeared to be the only one in the family not swept up in the belief that they were in danger. He later said he had gone along to ensure they would all be safe, but that his parents became increasingly delusional and hard to tolerate. Some 30 kilometres away from home, they made him throw his phone out of the car window. They were apparently convinced it was being used to track them. The family drove in Ella's silver Peugeot SUV through that first night, day and night, until reaching the New South Wales town of Bathurst, 800 kilometres away to the west of Sydney. It was there at 7 on Tuesday, 7 a.m, that Mitchell left the family. And then there were 4. Later on Tuesday morning, the remaining 4 Tromps headed east from Bathurst to a popular tourist spot, the Jenolan Caves. It was there that Rihanna and Ella decided to also part from their parents. They did this by stealing a car. And that's Jenolan Caves, you can drive through it. The 2 sisters drove south to the town of Goulburn, where they reported their parents had gone missing. The story made its way into the media, and a bemused Australian public wondered how a family could have become so strangely separated and separately lost on what was at first thought to be a driving holiday, and in their own country. This was not remote territory, not the vast Australian outback. At all times they were close to large towns. In Goulburn, Rihanna and Ella decided to part ways at a petrol station, with Ella saying she wanted to go home to feed her horses. She became the first Tromp to be located when she arrived back at the family farm on Tuesday night and found police there. Mitchell would arrive home the following morning, having taken a series of trains. And then there were 3. While Mitchell and Ella appeared reasonably unaffected mentally, the same could not be said of Rihanna. She had climbed into the back of a utility vehicle in Goulburn and was only discovered there by the male driver after he had driven almost an hour away. He pulled over and found Rihanna to be in what he called a catatonic state, saying she did not know her name or where she was. Okay, number 1. The Sylvan family leave home on Monday, 29th of August. Number 2. At Warburton, 30 kilometres down the road, Mitchell throws out his mobile phone. Number 3. At Bathurst, Mitchell leaves the family on Tuesday, the 30th of August. Number 4. Rihanna and Ella leave their parents at Jenolan Caves, steal a car and drive to Goulburn. Number 5. Wangaratta suspect sighting of Mark. Hang on. If Rihanna and Ella left their parents at Jenolan Caves, stole a car and drove to Goulburn, or was it Goulburn that she jumped in the car of the other person? And why would you do that when you were with your sister? Okay, Wangaratta suspect sighting of Mark on Wednesday the 31st of August. It is very suspected. It is not confirmed. 6. Yes, Jacoba Tromp found wandering the streets on Thursday the 1st of September. On number 7, Wangaratta, Mark Tromp found near airport on Saturday the 3rd of September. Rihanna, one of the daughters, who was in the back of the car, was later taken to Goulburn Hospital, where she remained in psychiatric care. Police say she was spared of the charges over the stolen vehicle for mental health reasons, but her sister Ella, however, had been charged with the car theft. Then there were only 2 left. As media interest grew and an interstate search began, Mark and Jacoba drove back toward Melbourne from the Jenolan Caves a day later on Wednesday. 600 kilometres south of the Victorian town of Wangaratta, they too became separated. Jacoba headed north again by means which are still a mystery and was found the next day 350 kilometres away in Yass, wandering in an agitated state. She was taken to a hospital there and later moved to Goulburn to be with her daughter Rihanna as the pair continued mental health treatment. Mark had stayed in Wangaratta after dangerously tailgating a young couple. He was seen fleeing from Ella's Peugeot. Police also began investigating a number of break-ins in the town, including at a motel, although it's unclear if they were related. Back at Sylvan, Mitchell and Ella made an emotional appearance before the media, saying they were baffled by their parents' paranoid behaviour. I've never seen anyone like this or conduct themselves in this way. I just really want my dad to be found, Mitchell said. He's not dangerous. He's my mate, my father. I love him. The last member found. The last piece of the unusual puzzle was put into place on Saturday evening, 6 days after the episode began, when Mark Tromp was found beside a road near Wangaratta Airport. He was questioned by police, assessed by a mental health officer, then released into the care of his police officer brother, showing the middle finger to photographers as he was driven away. Okay, so there was another brother who was a police officer. Keep that in mind. I hope I keep it in mind. He later released a more contrite statement apologising for the hurt and concern caused by these events. He paid respect to the community resources devoted to his family's aid as the public attempted to make sense of the drama. Police do not believe there was any real threat to the family. One investigating police officer from the Sylvan District described it as the most bizarre case I've seen in 30 years. What I'm realising here too is they're not naming names or their sources. Here we go. Sergeant Mark Knight, who knows the family, said they had no diagnosed mental health problems. There was no evidence of drug taking, as some social media theories had suggested. The family had no debts and did not belong to any religious groups. This is just a massive meltdown, I'm sure of it, Sergeant Knight said. Mitchell and Ella Tromp admitted it was hard to explain. I've never seen anything like it. It's really hard to explain or put a word on it. But they were just fearing for their lives, and then they decided to flee, Mitchell said. It was a build-up of different, normal, everyday events, just pressure, and it slowly got worse as the days went by. Okay, but that's fair enough, but a lot of people have pressure and they don't flee thinking they're being chased. While some ponder whether the family may have been affected by chemicals used on their farm, media reports say police are also contemplating whether the family suffered from collective delusions, an episode of foyer d'oeuvre. I'm not sure how to say that. It's the madness of two, a French term meaning madness of two, covers a rare psychological condition occurring almost exclusively in close-knit families. Funnily enough, I don't believe that, but we'll keep going. It was originally coined to describe a 19th century French couple who began exhibiting paranoid and delusional behaviour. While doctors were unable to tell which of them had become psychotic first, it was clear they'd fallen into a cycle of reinforcing each other's delusions. The full reasons for the Tromp's very public meltdown might never be known, however. Police say no further charges are expected to be laid and that the issue is now simply a family affair. Okay, well, if you know about Victoria, then and the Melbourne and that whole state down there, and who it's run by, and what that person, like, it's known in Australia that farmers are doing it tough and they're being driven off their land. So there's a lot of ways that this could have come from, and actually I'd like to speak to this family. I would like to ask them what happened and have no judgment at all towards them, because I don't think that they could be wrong. Even the police officer said they thought they were in danger, so they left. Anyway, let's continue on. There's another article about the daughter who woke up in a catatonic state. She didn't know her name and had no idea where she was. Keith Whittaker was headed to a doctor's appointment in the Australian state of Canberra on Tuesday when he realised he was not alone. I felt a kick to the back of my seat. I turned around and saw two legs stretched across the back between my seat and floor, Whittaker told the Golden Post. She was lying on the floor. She did not know her name and had no idea where she was. The distressed and disoriented young woman turned out to be Rihanna Tromp, the elder daughter of Mark and Jacoba Tromp. In the grips of a mysterious existential crisis, the Victorian couple had fled their home in the Yarra Ranges hamlet of Sylvan in Melbourne's outer east. Pursued by who knows what, they headed north with their three adult children for the border and beyond. It got worse as days went by. On Monday, the Tromps and their children, Rihanna, Mitchell and Ella, had piled into Ella's Peugeot for a technology-free trip to New South Wales. Come Thursday, 4 family members had emerged shell-shocked in 4 separate locations, and one was still unaccounted for. Despite unconfirmed reports of Mark Tromp being seen on both sides of the border on Thursday and Friday and possibly breaking into a Wangaratta motel on Thursday evening, the only verified sighting since his family last saw him was on Wednesday night. On Thursday, Mitchell Tromp likened the sequence of events on the family's ill-fated road trip to a scary movie, with the build-up of pressure and paranoia and his parents spreading before, one by one, the Tromp children bailed out. It slowly got worse as the days went by. They were just fearing for their lives, and then we decided to flee, he said. Mitchell said he went in the car with his parents to convince them to return home. He threw his mobile phone out the window at the request of his parents, who believed it was being used to track them. When their behaviour grew worse near Bathurst in New South Wales, he chose to leave, he said. Rihanna, 29, the young woman who wound up in the back of Keith Whittaker's ute, left her parents at Jenolan Caves. I got an extreme shock, Whittaker said. I pulled over in a rest area. About 20 minutes later, the young woman sat up and was staring straight ahead. I asked her who she was and if she was all right. She did not know her name and had no idea where she was. I asked her if she needed any water or anything, or was in any way injured, and she said no. Then I called the police. Until the police arrived, she mostly sat and stared straight ahead as if she was catatonic. They arrived about an hour later and took her back to Goulburn Police Station. She was a well-dressed young woman, and she offered to give me $50 for my trouble, but I said no thanks. I was just glad to help her. A New South Wales police spokesman confirmed the young woman was Rihanna Tromp, and the officers had collected her from Whittaker near Lake George at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. They said she and her sister Ella, 22, had stolen a car from Jenolan Caves and driven it to Goulburn before Rihanna alighted and entered Whittaker's ute. Ella kept driving back to Victoria. Why would the sister get out of the car with her other sister and get into a strange person's car? Police also confirmed on Friday the young woman had since undergone a mental health assessment and was now in the care of mental health services in Goulburn with mother Jacoba, who was found wandering in an agitated state on Thursday. Both are said to be doing well. A spokesperson for New South Wales Police said a document which suggested the family could have shared delusional schizophrenia had been circulated amongst officers, but Mitchell said there had been no such diagnosis and the information was incorrect. Mark Tromp was last seen running away from his daughter's ditch Peugeot in Wangaratta by a couple who said they were stalked by him in a bizarre cat and mouse through the streets of the northeastern Victoria country town. A break-in at a motel on Thursday night may indicate he had not left the city, the Border Mail reported. That's not proof of anything. There's no proof he broke into the motel. A young couple said they were stalked by him. Anyway, police could not confirm if the culprit was Mr. Tromp. Rosemary O'Neill, manager of Miller's Cottage, and staff discovered the break-in on Friday morning, but the room had not been damaged. We called the police because we thought it would help them looking for that missing man, she said. We all want him to come out and be okay. Police confirmed they were fingerprinting a room after the door was found ajar at 9:30 a.m. on Friday. The bathroom had been used, the bed looked to have been used, and a muesli bar wrapper was on the floor, police said. Mr. Tromp's family members had travelled to Wangaratta to help with the search, driving around and talking to people in hope of getting any information. His cousin, who did not want to be identified, said the family's investment properties in Wangaratta were being rented out and he had no idea where to look. We've been looking everywhere. We were up late Thursday night and up again at 5:15 a.m. Friday morning, he said. I don't think he's been able to walk through Wangaratta without being seen. The cousin described Mr. Tromp as a normal, hard-working, honest family man and said the paranoia of recent days was so far out of left field. I've been working with him and I saw no signs of it, the man said. It's horrible. He's by himself and obviously thinks someone's after him. Sergeant Mark Knight of Monbulk Police said 2 sightings of Mr. Tromp on either side of Victoria-New South Wales border were both days old. We haven't substantiated any sightings, he said. I don't know where he is. I've got no idea. Mr. Tromp's wife, Jacoba, had spoken to police and family from a hospital in Yass, where she was found on Wednesday, but was yet to shed any light on what had happened. We'll continue to talk to her, but we just have to let her rest for now, Knight said. Police said on Friday morning they've have several reports from people who believe they have seen him. None have been verified, and the Wangaratta sighting remains the only concrete lead. There is no record of Mr. Tromp leaving Wangaratta by train or bus, and there have been no reports of cars being stolen. A shell-shocked Mitchell, the middle Tromp child, pleaded for his father to come home in a press conference on Thursday. I just really want my dad to be found, he said. He's not dangerous. He's my mate, my father. I love him. I've never seen anyone like this or anyone conduct themselves in this way. Knight says he knows the family and said they have no diagnosed mental health problems, no evidence of drug-induced psychosis or drug taking. No one in the family has accessed a doctor or psychologist recently or been issued a prescription, he said. They do not belong to any churches or sects and do not have debts. 2 of the children live at home and all 3 work 7 days a week in the family's successful business, a berry farm and earth moving company. Daughter Ella has her own company as well, supplying trucks and drivers to Yarra Valley Farms. The family moved to Sylvan from nearby Macclesfield 10 years ago. Mr. Tromp's brother Ken is a police sergeant in Monbulk and is believed to be helping in the search for his brother. I'm asking myself what is going on, said Knight. It's a mystery, but there's nothing sinister. Knight said when he checked their home after the first reports of Rihanna being found near Goulburn, the house was open, the keys were in car ignitions, but there was no sign of any struggle. This is just a massive meltdown. I'm sure of it. Something triggered them. And then the timeline they have on here, and this is from stuff.co.New Zealand. Tuesday the 30th of August, Mitchell decides he wants to go home. That's not even... Hang on, okay. Monday the 29th of August, the Tromps leave the family home in Ella's Peugeot to go on a technology-free road trip. During the course of the drive, it's discovered Mitchell has brought his phone with him. He throws it out the window near Warburton, about 32 kilometres from the family home. The family continued driving towards Bathurst. And I've pretty much read the rest of it. Okay, let's go on to the next. Which one is it? Okay, let's keep going through this. I've got this in front of us now. This is from BuzzFeed. Now I'm doing all this. I've done the BBC, New Zealand one, and now BuzzFeed. I know they're probably the worst mainstream media articles to read, but I'm doing this for a reason. I'll show you why. The story behind the missing bizarre road trip of a missing family. Okay, they sparked a worldwide conversation on what actually happened to them. Known to be one of the most bizarre cases in 30 years, this is the puzzling story. And there's a video there, but I'm not going to play it. Mark and Jacoba Tromp, along with their 3 children, inexplicably fled their farm on Monday, August 29th, 2016, in Sylvan, Australia. And there they are here. Mark Tromp, aged 51, Jacoba Tromp, aged 53, Rihanna Tromp, aged 29, Mitchell Tromp, aged 25, and Ella Tromp, aged 22. When police investigated their home, they found the following: mobile phones, passports and credit cards. The trip had appeared to be cash only and off the grid. Mark and Jacoba Tromp ran an earth-moving business and berry farm from where all of their children worked 7 days a week. They drove for the first day and night until they reached Bathurst, roughly 500 miles away from their home. Unlike the rest of his family, Mitchell Tromp bought his cell phone. However, roughly 19 miles into their trip, his parents forced him to throw his phone out the window because they were convinced it was being used to track them. The next day, August 30th, 2016, Mitchell left the family around 7 a.m. The family later headed out to the Jenolan Caves. When they arrived, Rihanna and Ella left their parents, stole a car and drove to Goulburn, where they reported their parents as missing. But from Goulburn, Rihanna and Ella strangely split up. Rihanna was found in the back of Keith Whittaker's Ford F-250. He recalled hearing a kick while driving, causing him to come to a complete stop to call the police. He said Rihanna was unresponsive and had no recollection of her personal information or where she was. Ella Tromp made it back home by Tuesday and the police were already there. According to a news source, before mysteriously leaving, the Tromps had gone through years of financial records. Several piles of documents throughout the home, including passports and credit cards. The piles were very ordered and they were clearly looking for something. An officer was quoted as saying. One day later, though, Mitchell arrived home via the train on August the 31st. The same day, Mark and Jacoba travelled to Wangaratta and separated. Jacoba headed north while Mark remained in Wangaratta. It is believed that Mark is linked to a case where a couple was dangerously tailgated by a car of the same making and colour as Mark's. When the young couple pulled the car over, the person tailgating them did the same. The young couple recalled Mark Tromp getting out of his car and running towards them. He eventually stopped in the middle of the road and stared at them and walked into the Merriwa Park in Wangaratta and disappeared. The police searched the park, but no one was found. In an effort to track him down, the police suspected that he stayed a night at the Miller's Cottage Hotel, where a room had been broken into. No, the police didn't suspect. They said there was no evidence of that it was him. On Thursday, September the 1st, Jacoba took public transportation to Yass, where she tried to book a motel in the city. Allegedly, a member of the city helped escort her to a hospital where the staff recognised her and called the police. 5 days after leaving his home, Mark Tromp was found wandering down a road around 5:50 p.m. He was questioned by the police and given a mental health assessment. After spending 5 hours at the police station, he was escorted out by a family member, and gave the media the middle finger. Mark would later publicly apologise for the hurt and concern caused by these events. The next day, Mitchell and Ella would appear before media thanking the police for finding their father. They didn't go into detail about what happened and essentially stated that they were still perplexed by it. With no family history of mental illness and with other various reasons ruled out, many wonder what caused the family to leave their home. With that being said, let's get into the theories. There's no sign of the family using drugs, there's no outstanding debts, and there's no church or cult they are involved in. The first theory is that the family was poisoned by an environmental toxin on their farm, causing them to have bizarre delusions. Do you remember when I said, what is the tower in that first picture? I have more theories than this. They say there isn't anything else to back this theory up. The second theory is the family was involved with the mob. At one point, the family was planning on fleeing the country but changed their minds because they believed their passports could be tracked. I don't believe that. Like, not the mob, unless the mob they're talking about is the people related to driving people off their land. However, if they were truly fearful for their lives, it's strange that Mark and Jacoba would allow their kids to leave the car. Okay. It seems that none of them actually knows what happened to themselves. I really wonder. You got to let me know what you think down below too, guys. Yeah, I'm not sure, but sometimes the towers, energy waves can do strange things to people. But I don't know if it's that, because they all ended up splitting up. It sounds kind of like the stories are made up and that something else has happened to these people. And that's why I would really love to talk to them, because I would not be judgmental towards them at all. I would really love to hear what actually happened. Even down to the point if they can't remember certain times. Okay, I won't go any further than that, but I think some of you will understand what I'm saying. There are things that can be done to wipe a mind. Okay, then they think it's this, the madness of two, like the two twin ladies who were caught on TV in England, in the UK, running across the road and getting hit by trucks. The two sisters. Okay, the term was coined after a French couple began exhibiting delusions and paranoid behaviour. That the couple believed their home was targeted by people who would spread dust and lint throughout their home while wearing their shoes as they slept. Okay, well that doesn't make much sense. And even though doctors were unsure of who began the delusions, they were sure Mark and Jacoba were reinforcing each other's paranoia. Over 90% of cases of madness of two have been couples, parents, children and siblings. Media coverage later revealed that Mark and Jacoba showed increasing signs of mental stress and believed someone was out to rob and kill them. When asked what possibly triggered the trip, their daughter Ella stated, "It is very confusing. I still feel confused. I think our state of minds wasn't in the best place and there's no one reason for it. It's bizarre." In the end, the questionable Tromp excursion covered almost 1,000 miles, leaving no definitive answers as to why they left in the first place, leaving the case unsolved. But then there's this. This is a website called startsat60.com, and they had some... Okay, this is strange. This is where it starts to get really strange. When Mark Tromp and his family went missing for 5 days, that had triggered alarm bells sending Victoria, and we've read the story, so we know what the stories are saying. But look at this. And I'll show you why I think they have blacked out, well not blacked out, whited out some of the words. According to Mr. Tromp's son, Mitchell, his parents were scared and thought they were being followed when they left their farm at Sylvan, east of Melbourne, over a week ago. On Sunday, Mitchell, Tromp and his sister Ella said the road trip and subsequent separation of the family members was a family matter, reports ABC. There's a large bit of missing text here. Why? In a statement released by a relative, and it goes on again, and then there's another big blank. And when you go from one sentence to the next sentence, it doesn't make sense. The youngest daughter, Ella Tromp, had been charged with stealing a car. It was alleged that she used to drive from New South Wales back home after she left her parents near Goulburn. More than anything, my family and I need time to recover and receive appropriate assistance, including mental health services, Mark Tromp said. Now check out this timeline. Because they have the timeline and they have all this, like the family leave their home, head towards New South Wales, threw the phone out of the car, the son's phone out of the car, left all their stuff behind, their bank cards, but took cash. Then on Tuesday the 30th of August, Mitchell leaves the family. The rest go to Jenolan Caves before the two daughters leave their parents at Goulburn. Then the daughter Rihanna, then they split up. Why? You were safer with your sister than jumping in a strange person's car. That doesn't make sense. Daughter Rihanna is hospitalised with stress-related health issues at Goulburn. Police visit the Tromp family home after Mark and Jacoba report missing. Find it, yep. Okay, here we go again. The family's car is found there. Okay, Mitchell and Ella Tromp make their way back to Victoria and find police at their farm. Thursday, September the 1st. There's a lot of missing text here. Is it just me, or do you think they are whiting out text? Because why isn't this in other ones then? Jacoba Tromp is found and taken by a member. I think something's happened. And then this one. Because we know that Jacoba was taken to Yass Hospital. Mitchell and Ella appeared to the public to find their father. On Friday, September 2nd, Jacoba Tromp is transferred to Goulburn Hospital, treated alongside Rihanna. Saturday 3rd, Mark Tromp is found on a street near the Wangaratta Airport in good health. And what's this again? I think there's information missing. We don't have all of the information. That's why it's a mystery. Because this is a timeline of the family road trip according to ABC News, and there are pieces that seem to be blocked out. They could be important. Anyway, guys, you can let me know what you think down below, but I think, okay, other than some chemical being used on their farm, I wonder what that tower was at the beginning, because I know that certain EMF signals can do strange things to people. Also, was somebody trying to drive them off their land? Or do you believe, as the mainstream media do, that the mob was after them? Or, oh, no, sorry, that the mainstream media think there's a conspiracy about the mob being after them. I wouldn't say it's the mob, but I would say that it's possible that someone was threatening them or doing something. And then I think a lot of the story got mixed up, and people do ring in when someone goes missing. A lot of good intentioned people do ring up because they see somebody kind of matching that description, and then the media kind of run with it as they were seen here without, they don't exactly say it, but they sort of assume it. They realise that the readers are going to assume that's what happened. I don't believe necessarily that he was chasing another couple in a car. He could have been. I might be wrong. I don't believe he broke into a motel room either, because there was no definitive proof. So other than that, yeah, I'd really like to hear from these people. I would really like to talk to them. Other than that, could this be some sort of setup to make people who want to live off-grid look mad, maybe? Anyway, guys, you can let me know what you think down below, but this was very interesting, and straight away I just started seeing things that I thought, this is not being reported fully the way it happened. Yeah, I don't think we have all the information at all. And I think that's why a lot of mysteries are probably mysteries, because of the lack of information that we do have. Anyway, guys, you let me know what you think down below, and I'll talk to you very soon. Have a good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Okay, guys. Bye.